good.
Something we had to make sure it worked.
Even after just a few sessions with the great stack of Vibra I can already feel the difference. Physically, I feel better. Less pressure on my legs. I feel stronger. I have more stamina. And kind of a bonus to me, I feel that my mental capacity has grown to where I can think more clearly, more concise.
I think that's Mike McGarry I hear there. Yeah. That's already like a flashback. You know what I mean? This is crazy.
Insurance Corporation is programmed to build interpersonal relationships with members of family units. We communicate on a four-name basis with all customer numbers.
Only a human
Jess.
who knows you can create a plan
Hey,
that's
Jess.
right for you. That's why for 80 years, Farm Bureau Financial Services has built relationships for
We're shooting a
plans.
Polly Shore.
All right, you guys ready?
Talk to a Farm Bureau agent today or visit
Get this thing ready.
agent.com.
If your tires go
Woo.
when you even look at a rock, that's a
All right,
big O
man.
no. Thankfully, for all your car's big O no's,
We're going to see how up to date our Facebook Live is so I can see my face here.
$20 on select sets of tires with paid installation. Get $70 instant savings plus up to a $50 mail-in
Do you
rebate
want
when
me
use your
to
big O card.
intro you, or do you want to just take it from
Always
here?
intro, man. Always intro. Oh, we love it. Hey, Pauly Shore, huh?
Yeah, Polly Shore. That's what he kind of looks like.
Robert, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for our shoot. By the way, he's going to be there 8:45. Alex is going to be there 8:45, man. So plan on it. We won't do the whole show in this, but I think we at least got to fire it up with this thing on, don't we?
You do.
Yeah. So Andy, always that sound bed and intro. And we want, and we all really like to go out with the sound bed. Mike used to have for us all the contact information. Hey, you can reach these guys at 275-1690 and soldinstgeorge.com. Is that all gone?
Yeah, but I can call it up on the website.
I'm going to give it to you right now.
Okay.
What's your email?
agriffin@cherrycreekmedia.com.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you so you'll have it.
Perfect. I'll get it printed out so I have it in the wall.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a sound of
Yeah,
that's a sound of
yeah.
success right there.
Woo! Let me get my hair out of my face. And our Facebook Live viewers.
First time in years he's known what it like to be like here.
What's up, Jess?
Good morning, everybody. This is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. As Jeremy Larkin's in the house, he brought Jesse with him as usual.
And some other guy. Some other long-haired.
Yeah, who's that?
I like the dude.
We got a little something special we're shooting down at. Robert, why can't I not remember? Is it the barber at Greengate? What's Sam's place called? Man, I feel bad. Robert's going to comment here on Facebook Live. Jeremy Larkin, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. I've got a pretty sick wig on, and I hope people are watching. Facebook Live, you can visit us, facebook.com/Jeremy Larkin. I've got Jesse Paul in the studio.
Good morning.
Jesse's got a little wisp of hair remaining on the top of his head and some stuff above his lip and on his chin.
Very little. That's why I have the goatee. It's to distract them from the top of my head.
Green Gate Barbers. I know you do. Seriously, it's a smart play.
Actually, the truth is my wife likes it.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've got that same feedback from a lovely woman that, like, it's better to be bald. As a matter of fact, I've been doing 1.5. You wouldn't know it based on the Facebook Live. I've been running a 1.5, and I'm getting told that I should run a 1. Just a 1, man. Like, that's a real low attachment. That's getting down to almost no attachment.
You might as well just grab a straight razor.
I've thought about it. The barbers at Greengate, Sam Martin. There you go, Robert. How many times are you going to get this wrong? We're going to be shooting a little video down there to celebrate the final days. I didn't know what the words were. I was stuttering. The final days of the Best of Southern Utah, and we're going to visit our buddy Sam Martin down there and shoot
Nice.
something fun. It's
Nice.
going to be kind of fun. I think that you're going to want to check this out on the Facebook sphere.
I haven't seen you have that
Hang
much
on.
fun for a while.
Let me just get this out of my face. Okay, all right. All right, that's enough. Hey, guys, we've got some fun stuff to talk about today. I got that wig off, and I can hear a lot better without that thing. How do women do it? No wonder their head, see, my head's so cold all the time in this weather. I was out riding those spin scooters yesterday with my boys about 6 o'clock. It was cold.
It got cold
and windy.
quick.
Those things are so fun. So we picked up some spin scooters over at St. George City offices, that's where it was.
So tell me about that. How much does it cost to ride one of those scooters?
Pretty fun. I'm gonna give you the dealio right now.
I love that.
I'm gonna give you guys some tips, and then folks, by the way, and we can give you help so much today. So the spin scooters is a really fun thing. I saw these, they call them bird scooters up in San Francisco.
Okay.
And you're seeing them around, and we had this kind of conversation like, well, are people gonna really use those? They're being used like crazy. They're so fun, they're big, they're sturdy, they're smooth. They say they go up to 25 miles per hour. I haven't been on one that did. The one I was on yesterday was 16. We grabbed them at the City of St. George offices.
It's still pretty quick.
Oh, it's quick. So that's 200 west and 200 east and 200 north. We flew over. We were clear over all the way down the boulevard and in the Hearst Ace Hardware parking lot in like 3 minutes. I mean, you're flying, right? And then we flew back on 200 north and we messed around, went up and down Main Street. So it's $1 the first minute, and it's 15 cents per minute thereafter. Now, if you are listening and you want to go ride the spin scooters, we're going to plug this right into the comments right now. Use the promo code Jeremy Larkin. There you go, Jeremy, Larkin, Larkin. There's 2 promo codes. I'm going to plug it right into our Facebook Live. Spin scooter promo codes Jeremy Larkin and Spin Love. Should get you like $8. There you go. So pretty cool, and that's how it works. And there's an app. You have to download the app, and the app is, man, they've got some work to do on that app. It's not stellar,
Right.
and how many of the questions people ask are such like, well, what do they do with them at night, and how come people don't just steal those and take them home? At 9:30 at night, they're all shut off. Number one, you cannot ride them. Number two, they are gathered up every night and charged, and then they're brought back to specific areas in the community. Town Square is one of those areas, Dixie State University, the St. George City offices. When you get on the app, you'll be able to see how many are in any given area on a map, and then you'll be able to see the battery life. This is what's so cool. You can see the battery life by tapping on any of those scooters on your phone. Because if they're running like 20-30% battery life, they just won't even operate. So you want to see 50-60% battery life. They are so dang fun. I love what our city's doing. When's the mayor coming in again?
Next Thursday.
Okay.
A week from today.
We'll blow up his ego while we're at it. So, fun, all right? Okay, so the Best of Southern Utah voting. Many of you saw yesterday on Facebook, I was in a red baseball cap with the lettering, "Make Southern Utah Great Again" across the top. Yeah, I love Photoshop. Vote bosu.com/Larkin. So let me give you an easier link. If you just head over to soldinstgeorge.com, soldinstgeorge.com, cast your vote. If you like what we're doing here at the Larkin Group, if you appreciate what we're doing on the radio show, what we're doing in the community, whether it's with our real estate or informing the community of what's going on, or our Basket Brigade project, if you like that, we'd love your vote for the Best of Southern Utah. When you visit soldinstgeorge.com, and that voting link's just gonna pop right in
just
your
did
face. Yeah, of
Because
course
I
you
went
did.
to go pull up our report,
And it's there,
it
yeah.
popped in front of me.
So give us a vote, and you can vote today, and you can vote tomorrow. And the fun part is you can actually vote on multiple browsers. You can vote on multiple devices. If you like what we're doing. If you don't like what we're doing, then I don't know if you're listening, and I'm not sure why that the case is. But we love this honor. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! So Jesse, let's move along here.
Okay, I'm ready.
528 property owners, sellers that have their property on the market, homes, condos, townhomes, building lots,
Yep.
reduced their price in the last 30 days.
True story.
528, that's a lot. That's a ton. What do you make of it? And we're gonna break this down. What do you make of it?
Well, I just make of it that the market is slowing down, even though it's, it feels like it's speeding up, because this time of year, we'll have 500 homes hit the market every month for, January, February, March, April. But it's still slowing down, and buyers are getting more wise. They're just tired of overpaying or overstretching.
Or feeling like they're overpaying?
Yeah, so that's really what's going on, is we're just seeing the market settle down. The inventory levels are going up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few months as our market really goes through the spring
They sure will. Well, that's Jesse Paul, and that's your answer, and we're gonna wrap up the show. It was actually that good of an answer. He's exactly right.
I
Check
didn't
this
even
out.
think about that first.
Check this out. 528 folks reduced the price of their listing, which means that it was on the market, they were trying to sell it, it was not being sold, buyers weren't taking the bait, and they needed to reduce the price to make it more favorable, right? Which is the sale rack, kind of.
Yep.
Now-
Well, a lot of that has to do with, you know, and a lot of sellers believe that they have to leave some wiggle room.
Yes, yes,
But what they don't realize is that wiggle room will actually prevent buyers from either coming to see your home, or even worse, not even offering at all.
Yeah.
So that way, what we've found over, 1,200 homes now we've sold?
Yes.
Is once you find the sweet spot or have your price right, buyers will pay what you want.
They'll pay what you want, and in the right situation, they'll pay more.
Yep.
Right, they're gonna pay more.
Mhm.
You know, we've sold historically for, I think, like, all the way back to 2005, we're at 99.9% of our clients' asking prices.
Right.
That's an average of all of those years, right? Let me share something else. 528 people reduced their price, but this is where it gets wild. So what's happening in the market? Why would they need to reduce their prices? 824 properties hit the market, but only 530 sold. Okay, 824 hit the market, 530 sold. So what's happening is inventory is increasing. Now, Jesse, just because they reduce their price, have values actually fallen?
No, they really
Not
haven't.
necessarily.
They don't, real estate values don't fall like that. They don't fall. Now, the
I
average
guess they
sales
could.
price could, but they don't really fall. That just means the homes that have sold in the last 30 days were less than they were the month before, right?
Right. Well, and I want to throw this out there. What this really means, okay, values haven't fallen, but what it means is people are asking too much for their property. Now,
Right.
this is such a strange time that we have right now. Values are at the highest level they've been, arguably, last summer, maybe a little higher, but arguably, sales prices are at the highest point in a decade.
Right.
Guys, go with me for just a second. Values at the highest point they've been in a decade. Not only at the highest point they've been in a decade, values are almost back to where they were at the peak when the market fell apart. And we all said, I don't think values will ever go back there. Now, you guys with me? I'm setting up the moment here. Values highest level in 10 years. We're back to prices that we thought we'd never get back to. And do you know what sellers are telling us? Well, I don't want to give my home away.
Right?
Well, what? Jesse, I wanted $450. You're telling me it's worth $399? Are you inferring that I should give my home away? Do our listeners hear how silly this is for just a minute? And here's why it's this way. I want to get this out. It's very important. Because people are going to think that we're being condescending and treating sellers like they're idiots. It's silly, but what it is absolutely human nature. I shot a video yesterday. I answered a question, are there any options for young students? We've talked about it on the radio. Yeah. Shot a video yesterday on YouTube. And I said, have you been out looking for cars lately? Sure. And when you went out looking for cars, did you ever find yourself going, you know, we wanted to buy a car, we drove all over town, and you know what was really exciting? We could not believe how cheap cars are.
Right?
Have you ever heard a human being say such an absurd? No! What do people say instead, Jesse?
Man, they're just too much. They're asking too much.
It's absurd. Cars are so expensive. Everything's so expensive. So the inverse is our psychology as humans is it doesn't matter how high the prices are. If we're selling something, we want a little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. And there are going to be home sellers who are going to look back on this time and go, oh my goodness, I couldn't see it.
I was just talking about this yesterday with one of our clients, that how many times we've seen somebody get stuck on a price and then just be so frustrated later when they should have taken an offer that came in the first time.
Well, it's going to cost them.
And they got stuck on the price and it cost them a lot of money.
Absolutely. And they're going to end up selling the home for less money.
Yep.
It's going to take longer to sell. They're going to make the beds and clean up the dishes and go through all the things that are real hassles for selling a home. So I would state, for everybody listening to this show right now, values are so high right now that if you have thought about selling, especially, oh my goodness, especially if you are an investor, right? Because I realize that a lot of our people that sell need to buy something else and they get stuck on the fact that they have to buy things that are expensive after selling their home for a high price. For just a minute, if you're an investor, meaning you just want to cash out, holy smoke. We can help you do work on what's called a seller carryback. If you're worried about paying capital gains taxes, we just sold a home for the Putnam family downtown, over here in McKenna Cottages, like 4 blocks away.
Right.
Okay. Listen, $102,000 gain realized since the bottom of the market on the McKenna Cottages.
Wow.
They were selling for $102,000. I think it was $102,000 at the bottom of the market. We just sold this for $224,000. Plus, if there was a tenant in it, the tenant paid down probably in that time $50,000 of the mortgage principal.
Equity, yeah.
Think of that gain, right?
It's a lot.
So the challenge is hindsight is 20/20 because we can't know what we just saw until we just saw it and it's behind us, and we can't understand what we just experienced until we experienced it. So sellers, look, I don't want to give my home away. Here's what giving your home. Should we just define it once and for all? Giving your home away means selling it for less than the market's willing to pay. Selling your home for what the market is paying is called selling it at market, right? So if you have Apple stock, good morning to our Facebook Live listeners, our YouTube Live listeners, my gosh, we're everywhere. We're on 94.9 FM, 890 AM. This is fun, isn't it? If you have Apple stock and you paid $100 a share for it, and today it's worth $50, and you sell it, you're not giving it away. You are selling it at the market value, right? And we need to be real clear that selling your home for less than you want is not giving it away. That's just
Right.
being disappointed that it's not worth what you want it to be.
Well, that's just where it's important to try to take the emotions out of it and just really come up with your game plan
Uh-huh.
with with your husband and wife, with each other, and really figure out what if. Where is the what if? If this, then I can't.
Husband and wife, wife and wife,
Whatever.
husband and dog. Let's
Boyfriend, girlfriend,
keep it
brother,
PC
sister.
here, man.
Yeah,
Let's keep it
Sorry about
PC.
that.
Wow,
But-
man. Look, he's
so
from
If you're single, have the conversation with
There-
yourself.
yeah,
or somebody.
with your
It's hard
dog.
have a
Talk to your
conversation with
dog,
yourself.
man.
But just really come up with the what ifs. I can't tell you how many times I've said, okay, well, what if you can't get what you want? Well, what do you mean?
Yeah, like, you mean I can't get what I want?
I haven't thought about that. Well, it's a lot better to think about that before you're in the pressure of an offer than later. Because it's
correct.
already decided when you weren't emotional.
Correct. Let me share some
Do
things.
it.
I love this. I love what you're saying. You make that decision on the front end. Can I read some headlines that I've been throwing around right here? So here's some headlines that have been hitting the airwaves the last little while, all right? And they sound like this. Cash out mortgage refis are back. Will homes become ATMs again? Okay, all right? That's meaning, it's an article. It's an article that was published on marketwatch.com. Like, hey, are people going to take all the equity out of the house? Are we going to be in trouble? Right? Second article. Consumer debt hits $4 trillion. Americans are diving deeper and deeper into the red. Right? Next headline. Housing bear who called 2018 slowdown, called as in predicted, says the worst is yet to come. Stack, his last name Stack, sees the risk of worst year for housing since the last crash. Okay? That was on Bloomberg. By the way, the previous article was on CNBC. This isn't like, you know what I mean, the Pheasant Run news in Kentucky. This is, it was a good one, wasn't it? These are the top headlines. Oh, hey, Jesse's mad. He gets so excited. He gets so excited. Will the U.S. fall into a recession by the end of 2020? USA Today. Half of business economists think so. Okay. So these are all negative headlines.
Yep.
And what we need to understand is the following, okay? And I'm going to say this. Recession, okay, slowdown, recession does not mean a crash. It does not mean a bubble.
Actually, if you look up the definition, I believe the definition is
Three
consecutive months of slowdown, right?
Yep.
or
Yep.
less than?
It's 2 quarters. I had to
2
verify.
quarters, okay.
A period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified as a fall in the GDP in 2 consecutive quarters. A recession. See, but how yucky is the word recession? It honestly is like colonoscopy. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't
it's
remember
like,
ever having
oh.
one of those.
Well, because they put you out, man. You don't remember.
Okay.
Listen, recession does not equal housing crisis.
Right.
That's what we have to understand. So here all these people are like, man, this is going to be the worst year in housing since 2008. Yeah, it probably will be the smallest growth in housing since the meltdown, since 2011. But yeah, right, you have to have that in context, right?
Yeah.
Like we're driving down the freeway at 90 miles per hour, and then we're on the phone with mom. Oh my gosh, traffic just slowed down everywhere from 90 to 80.
Right, so, well, let's
Right,
take
you
a
know what I
look
mean?
at one of these articles and really dive into it and give you a perspective. The one that's talking about the cash out refis, let's put that into perspective, because in 2006, there was 321 billion refinances or cash out refis. 2018, 38 billion.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is
Right?
it really the worst ever?
Thank you. So we put the K, give us more perspective, okay? And Joe, by the way, Joe Newman, good morning, said I'd argue that prices are higher than they've ever been. Well, Joe, you may argue it. Here's what we know, by the way, some very relevant timely market data we have says that we lost 46% in the crash, and we gained back about like 43. Now, that was as of 2 months ago, so but yeah, we can argue that, okay, but okay.
There's certain price points that's definitely true, but the overall market is probably still a little bit low.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we've seen some things, if you have a Hidden Valley townhome,
Yeah, that's
if you're
definitely back.
if you are within the sound of my voice and you have a Hidden Valley townhome, you should probably sell it if you bought it 5 years ago. Hidden Valley townhomes, they're out on Brigham Road. This is such a fun market pocket. They sold for $85,000 at the bottom of the market, right?
Wow.
Today they're selling for like $185,000. Imagine that you got $100,000 back on an $85,000 purchase in 7 years. Could you actually imagine? And if someone had told you that before it happened, how many would you have purchased?
Quite a few.
Well, all of them.
And that actually goes back to the original question that you were talking about earlier that you answered on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah.
Of should we buy a home if we're a young couple? And you talked in that video about a starter home. Like, how many people have we met or helped get into a starter home, and then a few years later, they take that equity and get into another home, and they build up to the home that they actually wanted in the first one that they couldn't afford.
Bingo.
They use that equity as leverage. You'll never get more leverage than building equity in a home.
Right? Right? Check this out, guys. Let's run with this for a second. I'm looking right now at Hidden Valley townhomes. I am now seeing this is just becoming astonishing. Okay, 195 under contract yesterday.
I thought you were a little bit low there.
What's the first one? All the recent sales are 183, 182, 170, 188, 185. I was dead on, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Go, come on now, okay? One brand new listing. Why? Because it's the only available listing in the townhouse.
Mhm.
Would you guys like to know what that is? It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They're 1,430 feet. I should have this memorized. I sold about 15 of them, literally. Most of them for banks at $85,000. 3-bed, 2 baths, 1,430 feet. They're out there off of Brigham Road. You get a carport. There's a nice pool. Lots of families, lots of kids. It's a fun place. $195,000. But here's the issue. Okay, here's the issue. Your alternative is to pay the rent, the mortgage of the landlord that owns that unit. Andy's looking at me going,
Which is probably higher than the mortgage.
how's that for perspective? You want
Which
perspective?
is probably quite a bit higher than your mortgage would be.
Yeah.
In the right sort of
So gang, you can pay your mortgage on $195,000 to Hidden Valley, or, if you're frustrated at that, just go ahead and sign up and pay your landlord's mortgage for it. That's fun, right? Now, as I always say, famously now, you do get to live in the home. Renting is not throwing money away. You do get to exist and live. But if you had your druthers, okay, if you had your druthers, which would you do? Well, I think that what you would do is you would pay your own mortgage, right? So we have all these news headlines that come out and makes it sound like things are crazy, things are falling apart, right? Things are falling apart. My goodness, folks, median home prices right now are so high, okay? We have a graph, and by the way, I'm going to share this 1 minute. I'm going to share this right now. What is it, Jesse?
260. We'll get to that.
Yep.
Where I can see it.
So let's wrap up.
250 to 260
Yeah.
is medium for the United States.
We're talking all-time highs,
Yeah.
and Joe's probably right there. Guys, let's wrap up with this. If you've got a question, if you're selling a property and you're frustrated, I actually want to invite you to do something. And it's to capture what we call just a home marketing audit. And yeah, the term is audit. We will look at your property in 3 critical areas and make some assessments and then write for you a very detailed plan to help you get that property sold in the shortest time frame possible, at the highest price possible, and maybe more importantly, with the least amount of headache possible. And you can do that by visiting soldinstgeorge.com. Soldinstgeorge.com. You'll see a link there that says home not selling ? Fill out your information. This is not a listing. It's not a solicitation of a listing from the Larkin Group at Keller Williams Realty. It is simply a free home marketing assessment or home marketing audit, and we will help you. We'll write a plan to help you get this done the right way.
There you go.
I'm going to put this
Thanks,
wig on and
Jeremy.
shoot a video.
Do it.
Woo!
Thanks, guys. Great show today.
Thank you. All right.
That one flew by today, huh?
They go so fast.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
They go so fast.
This section is taking a beating. Powerful winds and heavy